coming off impressive road victories meet today at Giants Stadium. The 3-5 Green Bay Packers take on the New York Giants, who are all even at 4-4 on the season. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Randy Cross. And I guess the big question for the Giants is, was the convincing win over the Redskins a flash in the pan, or are they finally finding themselves?
Well, if they have found themselves, it's kind of a new self for the Giants. For years, it's always been a dominating, tough defense and an offense whose job was it really not to mess up. Now the defense is still pretty good, but this team will live and die the second half of '92 by how well this offense does.
Randy, in talking with Mike Holmgren, the Packers head coach, he said, we can beat the Giants on their turf. We can build on that, beating a tough team under tough circumstances. But how do they do it?
They've got to do it with their offense, using the pass as the run. Brett Favre, Vince Workman, and Sterling Sharp have to control the ball, have to get down the field, eat up time on the clock. It's a given the Giants will move the ball. Now let's look at a little cross-examination we like to do. Offensively, edge goes to the Giants. Defensively, also to the Giants. Special teams, I think with the windy conditions here in the punting game with the Packers being as poor as it is, edge goes to the Giants. Team speed, though, is over with the Packers, but intangibles, give that edge right there to the New York Giants. I think this is a team that's finally quit whining in the newspapers and wants to play football.
Green Bay will get the ball first, and Matt Barr will kick off for the Giants. Corey Harris and Edgar Bennett are deep, and it'll be Harris returning a couple of yards in the end zone. And the Packers will begin just beyond the 15-yard line or close to it. Rookie quarterback Brett Favre, he played last year, but in sense this is his first year. And his offensive front, there have been some injuries there. Frank Winters will start at left guard in place of Rich Moran. Campen is the center. Hallstrom and Robbins on the right side, and Jackie Harris the tight end. Vince Workman and Harry Sidney are the running backs. Sterling Sharp, one to watch at wide receiver, along with Sanjay Beach. Sidney and Beach are ex-49ers. First down from the 15. And the handoff is to Vince Workman, and he doesn't get much, if anything. A gain of 1 yard. Pepper Johnson in on the stop for the Giants. Eric Dorsey, Eric Howard, and Leonard Marshall up front in the Giant base defense. Carl Banks, Pepper Johnson, Steve DiAsi, and Lawrence Taylor are the linebackers. Mark Collins and Perry Williams are the cornerbacks, and Greg Jackson and Lamar McGriggs are the safeties.
Dick, Mike Holmgren and these Packers have to at least make a token effort of throwing the ball. But the key to them moving the ball down the field is going to be throwing to the running backs and the wide receivers.
Second down and 9. And Favre to throw the first time, the tight end Jackie Harris. And he gets maybe a yard as Lamar McGriggs, who has been an aggressive safety playing for Myron Guyton, makes the stop, a gain of 3 yards, and that'll bring up third down.
And here's a situation that Mike Holmgren does not want to put Brett Favre in that often. He said the key was getting some yards on first down so that he would not get very many third and longs. I don't like the matchup with the rushers, specifically Lawrence Taylor coming after Favre off that left side of the Packer line.
There's Lawrence Taylor. He is lined up on the right side of the defensive line. 3rd and 6 from the 19. Favre has some time. He's going to run for the first down, and he gets beyond the 30-yard line. So the receivers were covered, and Brett Favre has a gain of 11 yards for the Packers.
One thing that's kind of fun to look at, check this out on this nickel situation. Watch Pepper Johnson, watch him turn and run this way on coverage, and Favre drops, goes back, and runs right behind him, and Pepper really never sees him. Watch 52. Here he is, he's checking off, he's covering Vince Workman. There goes Favre. That was the hole Favre ran through for those yards.
And a first down on the 30-yard line of the Packers. And a play fake. Favre gets some pressure, and Lawrence Taylor comes in and swats it down.
Yeah, you know, I know Lawrence Taylor said this is his last year and everything, but Mike Holmgren said it best. You know, he used to make 10 plays a game nobody else could make. Well, so now he only makes 5 plays a game nobody else can make. There still are a lot of guys in the league that would kill for half of this guy's talent.
And he made the big sack, forcing a fumble that Ray Handley said was the biggest play of the season for the Giants last week against the Redskins.
It was a patented move by Lawrence Taylor, too. He really brought that backside strip into vogue. Everybody seems to do it, but it wasn't until 81 when he started doing it a lot that people started copying it.
Second down and 10. Favre takes a short drop. Again, the receivers are covered. And the Giants give Favre 7 yards. Pepper Johnson is there. And it'll be 3rd and long for the Packers on this, the first series of the game.
And the key receiver in this Packer offense is Sterling Sharp. But as has happened the last month or so in the games for the Packers, they don't get the Sharp the ball early. People are doubling him up. They're sort of taking him out of the offense. And it forces him to go to guys like Jackie Harris and Vince Workman out of the backfield in these third down situations. If you have any sense when you're playing the Packers, you take 84 out of the game.
Packers are 8th in the NFL on third down conversions. They face a 3rd down and 8. Pressure on Favre, and he goes down. And Lawrence Taylor is making his presence felt in the first series and a loss of 5 yards.
Well, he's playing against Ken Rutgers, who's not the most aggressive offensive tackle, and also 52, Frank Winters is new. Watch the game over there. Leonard Marshall goes outside. Lawrence Taylor comes underneath, and it's a good job at taking advantage of a personnel change in the offensive line because Winters and Rutgers just aren't used to working next to each other.
5th sack of the game of the year for Taylor, and Paul McJulian, who has struggled this year as a kicker, end over end, takes a Green Bay bounce, and Dave Meggett will let it drop where it's down by Harris at the 32-yard line. A 41-yard kick by Paul McJulian, who was last in the NFC. Giants ball when we return.
America's most popular camcorder.
A much easier week for Ray Handley, especially from the New York press after the win over the Redskins, looking to make it 3 in a row today. And the Giants will start from their 32-yard line. First down and 10. Jeff Hostetler, the quarterback. He is 3-1 as a starting quarterback for the Giants, who go with 2 tight ends and 1 running back. And the handoff is to Rodney Hampton. And Hampton will lose a yard on the play with George Kuntz making the tackle. Jeff Hostetler leading the Giants in the offensive line. John Elliott, William Roberts, Bart Oates the center, Eric Moore and Doug Riesenberg on the right side, and Howard Cross used a lot more in the offense last week. Rodney Hampton and Jared Bunch, 2 outstanding backs, and Ed McCaffrey starts for Mark Ingram at wide receiver along with Stephen Baker. McCaffrey goes in motion, 2nd down and 11. Penalty marker down, and the pass by Hostetler is complete to Baker. It would be a first down of 15 yards, but there's a flag down. Roland Mitchell made the tackle on Baker. The referee today is Larry Nemmers, and the penalty will be against the Giants.
That was a little different out of the New York Giants there, Dick.
Illegal formation. The right tackle was uncovered on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards. Repeat, 2nd down.
The impressive thing about that last play to me was that Ray Handley went with a drop back pass. A lot has been made of, obviously they have a great running game. That sets up your play action. It shows a lot of faith by Ray Handley in his offensive line and his offense to go right to a drop back pass and not to the play action.
10.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 2nd down and 16. Lester Archambault and Bryce Paup up front on a 4-man line for the Packers. Giants looking to throw. Protection again, in the pass complete to McCaffrey. He's still going with it into Packer territory, and the Giants get a first down. 27-yard gain for Ed McCaffrey, making his first NFL start and a big target at 6'5".
Well, one thing that's missing in this picture is pressure on Jeff Hostetler. The Packers do not have anyone besides Tony Bennett that knows how to get after a quarterback. And look at the advantage that McCaffrey uses, that 6'5", 210-pound frame once he gets the ball. I mean, he's like a tight end who can move.
First down on the 48 of the Packers. No score, first quarter. Hostetler throwing left, and he's got Baker knocked out of bounds, and that should be another Giant first down. Roland Mitchell defending Stephen Baker, and a gain of 12 yards. Let's check out the Packers defense. Matt Brock, John Yurkovich, and Robert Brown up front in their base defense. George Kuntz, Bernell Dent, Johnny Holland, and their best pass rusher is Tony Bennett. Rookie Terrell Buckley and Roland Mitchell at the corners. Chuck Cecil and Leroy Butler are the safeties. Hostetler has the Giants on the Packer 36 in the pitch to Rodney Hampton. Trying to protect the ball, and he does it well with a host of Packers around him. Chuck Cecil was the first to reach him, and then Butler, and a good gain of 8 yards for Hampton.
The bad news for the Green Bay Packers on this drive so far is that Jeff Hostetler has been able to throw the ball effectively, and the offensive line for the Giants is just sort of mushing that defensive front of the Packers. That was not a real fancy play. They just had bodies on bodies, and the blue bodies weren't getting off the white bodies.
And the Giants are driving smartly. 2nd down and 3 on the Packer 39. And Jared Bunch gets the first carry for him today, and he is smacked hard by the middle of the line, Matt Brock. And then Leroy Butler comes up from the secondary and a gain of 1.
And, you know, we talked to Leroy Butler yesterday, and he talks about teams like to see a little strong safety, a 5'10", about 195 pounds, but here he is right there against a 250-pound fullback. You know, strong safeties don't spend a lot of time that close to the line of scrimmage, but if you're playing the New York Giants right now with this running game, you best have 8 or 9 guys at the line of scrimmage for the run.
Not only is Bunch big at 250, but he's got good speed at 4.5 for the 40. So here's 3rd and short, 3rd and 2 coming up. The Giants with 4 wide receivers. And Joey Smith goes in motion. Out of the shotgun is Hostetler. And he is being chased, and his pass was intended for Meggett, and Johnny Holland, the linebacker, was downfield covering. So the Packers doing a good job of closing it out, and Sebastian Brooks put some good pressure on Hostetler.
That was a really nice job of coverage, but more importantly for the Packers, with a 3-man rush, they were able to put some heat. You know, Barry came right underneath Riesenberg, working off that left defensive end position, and put some good heat on Hostetler.
This will be a 47-yard attempt by Matt Barr with Hostetler holding. Barr's longest successful field goal this year has been from 36 yards.
This is not a user-friendly kicking place for any kicker. You got to drive the ball low.
And the kick is going to be good as it just makes it over the crossbar. A 47-yard field goal for Matt Barr. His longest of the season, and the Giants move out in front 3-0.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. And by Miller Lite, it's everything you want a beer to be.
Indian summer is but a memory as the chill of the autumn is with us, and this is perfect football weather. Sunny skies, although the lights have been turned on here at Giant Stadium.
Anybody that calls this perfect football weather at 40 degrees obviously never lived at any time in California. That's where I grew up. Football weather is 70 degrees and a little breeze.
Randy, this is football weather. Kickoff by Barr is fielded by Corey Harris. Harris gets a block, and Harris, with a good run back, is knocked out of bounds at the 34-yard line by the kicker Matt Barr, and a return of 34 yards by the rookie wide receiver who was waived by Houston.
Well, you know, there's different ways of making tackles, and you're going to see Barr come up and not intimidate. He's kind of going to be a pest here because there's only one guy left, only one person, and that's the kicker. Look at that. He took a straight arm to the face, takes another straight arm to the chin. Harris knocks him down, but he just wouldn't go away, like one of those little gnats.
There is Matt Barr says that's a little much for me. First down on the 35. The Giants lead 3-0. And here is Vince Workman trying to go outside. And Workman gets to the 39-yard line. And a gain of 5 yards with Steve Diassi making the tackle.
And that sets up the situation that Mike Holmgren wants from the offensive standpoint for the Packers. Now it's 2nd and 5. Now you can run your little driving slanting patterns with a Sterling Sharpe, one of your wide receivers, dump it off to a running back, and get your first down. You don't want to be 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, because that gives the defense too many options, and the Giants have too many weapons.
Again, Lawrence Taylor lines up. You see him at the top of that defensive line, and a play fake. Taylor trying to fight off a block in the pass to Harry Sidney, and he'll have a Packer first down close to midfield. A gain of 7 yards. Pepper Johnson makes the tackle on Sidney, who's all-round good running back for Green Bay.
This is an illustration of Brett Favre knowing the offense and then seeing what kind of things make Brett Favre special. Keeps his cool, keeps his wits about him, and dumps his ball off to Harry Sidney for a first down. But I'm always impressed with Brett Favre. He's got the great personality. He's got the natural leadership of a good quarterback, and he has so much fun playing football. I mean, he's still at that stage. It's not money. It's nothing else. It's just fun.
First down for the Packers on their 47. Double tight end. Favre fires it to Sterling Sharpe. Favre and Sharpe can team up effectively on the slant pattern, and they get into Giant territory and should have a first down with DeOssie covering Sharpe.
Well, Sterling Sharpe's starting to appreciate why they keep saying Jerry Rice in San Francisco gets hit in the head a lot on patterns. But when a receiver goes inside in this offense a lot, you're going to get your noggin knocked on a few times.
Sterling Sharpe, second in the NFL with 50 catches coming into this game. He's also scored 6 touchdowns. First down Packers on the Giant 43 with 5:10 remaining in the first quarter. Pressure on Favre, and the pass was intended for Sharpe, and it was overthrown. Mark Collins wound up closest to the ball.
Little miscommunication. Look at Brett Favre laughing at the sideline. He told us, sometimes when I make mistakes in this offense, I'm not real nuts about looking over at the sideline and trying to find Mike Holmgren over there. He says he stands right next to Detmer, Mikowski, who's signaling me plays. I try to pretend I can't see Mike. I just concentrate on number 7.
Sometimes Mike finds him. Second down and 10 on the 43 of the Giants. Giants lead 3-0. Showing blitz, and Favre taking a pass deep by Sharpe, and Sharpe is ruled out of bounds. He had 1 foot out of bounds, so it'll go as an incomplete pass. Third down coming up. Mark Collins was defending Sharpe.
Good job by the Giants defense of disguising a blitz, or actually showing a blitz, and it wasn't a blitz, because Brett Favre goes to a 3-step audible for a quick blitz situation, and he's not getting it. And everybody's covered. He's got nowhere to go. You see 1 foot in, 2 feet in, right there. Well, that was a catch, but you know what? It don't matter, because it wasn't a catch.
Third down and 10. 3 wide receivers for the Packers. Here comes the blitz. Pepper Johnson blitzing. They didn't pick him up, and Favre has to get rid of it in a hurry. No one downfield, and the Giant defense has held the Packers for the second time. Pepper Johnson wants some help from the crowd, and it's 4th down.
And in this offense, there's always a hot receiver on a situation like that on 3rd down when you're getting the blitz. That time, the hot receiver was Sterling Sharpe coming from the far side slot, but he got pressure so fast he didn't even have time to get to the hot guy.
That's Dave Meggett, who's deep for the Giants, and Paul McJulian punting for the second time. And the Giants block the kick. And they've got it. Louis Tillman brought down from behind. Ed Reynolds blocked the kick for the Giants, and Louis Tillman picked up the loose ball, and the Giants have the ball inside the Green Bay 35.
Well, there's a good illustration of why when you go into the game you say maybe the Giants have the edge on special teams. Here's a no-hitter, a Nolan Ryan, a complete whiff up the middle. Ed Reynolds just comes in and gets all over McJulian. And more importantly, for the Packers, McJulian is hobbled. He wasn't kicking good to start with, and now he's hurt.
He had a kick blocked against the Lions last Sunday. And the Giants in business again of a first down on the Green Bay 31. And a play fake. Hostetler fires, and the pass caught by Cross, the tight end, and he'll have another first down for the Giants inside the 20-yard line. A pickup of 12 yards with Cecil defending on the play.
Nolan Cromwell is the special teams coach for the Green Bay Packers. You know what the worst sound in the world is to a special teams coach? Listen. Yo, that bam bam, the double thud. Special teams coach don't like to hear that, especially when they're punting.
Giants with a first down on the Packer 18, leading 3-0 and trying to add to that lead. After delay, goes up the middle and reaches the 15-yard line, a pickup of 3 yards. McJulian had been struggling as a punter in recent weeks. Last week he got off a 47-yarder before the block, and of course the Packers are hoping he can snap out of his slump. Well,
I tell you, he didn't get a very good punt the first time. The second one gets smothered. It's kind of like going to the first tee in front of about 20 of your best friends and woofing the drive. It doesn't do wonders for your confidence.
Second down and 7 on the 15-yard line. Here's Jared Bunch cutting inside and finally wrestled down at about the 12-yard line. The Giants are perfect inside the red zone this year. They are a perfect 28 for 28, 19 touchdowns and 9 field goals, and that was a problem last year.
And the impressive part about that isn't the fact that they've scored a lot. It's the fact that they've gotten 19 touchdowns out of those possessions. That's an extremely high average in a league-wide way to look at it. This is a team that has executed and specifically has just pounded the ball and gotten the ball very effectively to Howard Cross and Derek Brown at the tight end position.
And you just saw one of their big weapons, David Mega, check in on 3rd down and 4. Hostetler out of the shotgun. And pressure on Hostetler, and he's brought down at the 20-yard line by Tony Bennett. And that is Bennett's 6th sack of the year. He has 6.5 and a loss of 8 yards. Will force the Giants to go for the field goal.
Here's Tony Bennett working on Big Jumbo Elliott, and that was a quick one. That one was over on about the 3rd step, and Bennett is the threat for the Green Bay Packers rushing the passer, and they only brought 3 guys. Only 3 defensive linemen came, 1 linebacker stopped and sort of hung back to spy on Hostetler, and everybody else was covered.
38-yard attempt by Barr, who was successful from 47 yards before. And this kick is good. Matt Barr with 2 field goals, and with 2:11 to go in the first quarter, 6-0 the Giants.
When you compare Bravada's Smart Track to Explorer's 4-wheel drive,
you are watching the National Football League on CBS Sports.
When you consider the Giants started from the Packer 31 and they did not get in the end zone, Bennett with a key sack, the Packers are not all in that bad shape, trailing only 6-0.
Well, Mike Homer's in a situation now where his players are kind of going, well, gee, we're here in New York, we're playing a good team in the Giants, and we're hanging in there. If we can hold them to field goals, we've got a chance, because his team all year long has gotten off to just horrendous starts. If they're not fumbling, they're getting kicks blocked, something bad is always happening.
And the kick, penalty marker down, is returned by Corey Harris. Harris trying to turn the corner, and he does. And he is stopped just shy of the 30-yard line by Chris Callaway, but there was a flag up at the point where the Giants kicked off.
And that's back in the offsides area of the special teams.
Offsides on the kicking team.
See, Corey Harris is trying to tell him we don't want that. He goes to the quarterback. Are you sure you don't want that?
Penalty is refused. 1st and 10.
Well, the Packers like their position on that kickoff return and will start from the 24-yard line. Exactly 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. You mentioned that the Packers have gotten off to slow starts. They've been outscored 40-14 in first quarters. Here at Giants Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, this is Dick Stockton along with Randy Cross. 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. The Giants, by virtue of 2 Matt Barr field goals, lead the Packers 6-0. And the Pack will start from their 25-yard line. King Rutgers, who has to keep Lawrence Taylor at bay. And Vince Workman dives forward and picks up fine yardage on first down, 6 yards. Again, that's what Mike Holmgren relishes. Workman picking up those yardage. He is the leading rusher coming into this game, coming off a 101-yard effort against the Lions.
But this Giant defense is a lot different from that demoralized group in Detroit that they ran the ball against last week. If he's going to keep doing that and keep running this ball effectively, it's going to be up to his guys in front to gash this front 7 and get them past the linebackers in the line.
Sharp lines up to the bottom of your screen. 2nd down and 4. And on the end around, here is Robert Brooks, the rookie wide receiver, who has got good speed, but an open field tackle by Mark Collins prevents a bigger gain. He got 6 yards, and that may be enough for a Packer first down, but Collins really saved some big yardage.
I tell you, having played in this offense, I can tell you one thing. If you're a backside guard and you pull around and you're supposed to block a corner, watch Frank Winters come around here and almost stop and hesitate. What's he doing? Trying to put moves on a guy that's 3 times as fast as him? Run at him. Make him make a decision. You can't have that hesitation because the guy behind you with the ball has absolutely no idea what you're going to do. He can see the DB.
First down on the 36 of the Packers. Leonard Marshall might have been drawn off sides by the left side of the Packer line. Larry Nemmers will sort it out.
Offside, number 70 defense.
But it's against
running unabated toward the quarterback.
Leonard Marshall.
5 yards, first down.
Well, that's a case of James Campen, their center, who they have back now after being out on injured reserve with a knee injury. Just seeing Marshall jump and being a good veteran smart guy, as most centers are, I must say, he just snaps the ball and gets his offense a little 5-yard penalty.
You speak from experience.
Oh yeah, of course. No. They're sort of the fat quarterbacks, you know. Not many big fat quarterbacks, but if you're big, you're fat, you're smart, they put you at center because you got to run that line.
21 seconds and the clock running. First down and 5, and Workman runs into a big Giant defensive line and picks up 4 yards. Steve Diassi was the man to reach him. They're shy of the first down by about a yard, and that should be the last play of the first quarter. And that is the end of the first quarter here at Giants Stadium. With a score, the Giants 6 and the Packers nothing.
Rescue 911 Tuesday.
Start of the second quarter, the Giants leading the Packers 6-0.
And this is sort of, it's all up to Brett Favre here for this offense to move it along, but this is sort of Brett does New York for the second time. He said when he was in high school, he and a group of, 27 country guys from Mississippi came out up here and they're throwing pennies off the Empire State Building, which sounded real safe. And they got to the bottom, saw ambulances, and he says, well, I didn't think anything of that. This is New York. There's ambulances all over the place. They're dipping skull and spitting off the building, and whoa.
Guess he never considered how fast those pennies go when they're off 106 floors.
Well, there's probably not too many 100-story buildings in Kill, Mississippi.
Second down and 1 for the Packers as we start the second quarter. And Workman bounces off a defender and gets a first down. As he reaches midfield, a gain of 5 yards. Pepper Johnson making the stop on Workman.
You know, Workman's been a running back for the Green Bay Packers. It's basically done everything Mike Holmgren's asked him to do. You know, they'd like to get Edgar Bennett in there. They'd like to get Thompson in there. There's a lot of guys they'd like to get in there, but every time they do, you know, Thompson's dinged up or Bennett puts the ball on the ground, and Mike Holmgren finds himself going back to Vince Workman, whose greatest crime in life as football player is probably just being a very steady, good guy.
First down in midfield, and the pass up the middle is caught by Jackie Harris, the tight end. And once again, the Packers get good yardage on first down. 8 yards on the play with Diassi covering a fine receiver from the tight end spot.
Well, Jackie Harris adds a lot to this offense. They've had Ed West in the past, who's one of the better blocking tight ends in the league. But since they got Harris and they adopted this new offensive style, the position of tight end has actually become a weapon.
Mike Holmgren says he could see Jackie Harris someday being an all-pro tight end. Second down and 2 on the Giant 42-yard line. And it's Workman. He's got room off the left side. And the Packers will have another first down as Workman is knocked out of bounds by Perry Williams. And a gain of 7 yards. Workman, by the way, coming into the game with 500 yards. That's more than the Packer leader a year ago.
Watch his whole side of the field get sealed off. Big Ron Hallstrom's coming around. He's got nobody to hit. Good job by the left side of the line and Sterling Sharp. Check this out. Blocking on McGriggs. Gets a little wall block. Gets a Hallstrom shoulder in the ear hole for his efforts. And did his part.
Sterling Sharp loves to block. First down on the Giants 35. 6-0 in favor of the Giants. And wide open is Sharp. And he's got a first down inside the 25-yard line. Perry Williams making the play and a gain of 12 yards for Sharp.
Sterling Sharp is just now getting to be recognized as one of the elite receivers in the NFL. And what he does well, as do most of the great ones, the Risens and the Rices and the Jeffries and whatnot, he runs extremely well after he gets the ball. And a lot of that is due to his well above average upper body strength he has for a receiver. Here's a guy that doesn't mind blocking, getting in there and body slamming, and uses that strength when he runs with the ball.
He's their big weapon. And the Packers threaten with a first down on the Giant 22. They send Workman in motion to the right. And the pitch is to Harry Sidney. And Sidney dives forward inside the 20-yard line. Harry Sidney scored the first Packer rushing touchdown last week against the Detroit Lions, and a valuable all-purpose running back.
Yeah, he had to put up a little grief from Sterling Sharp. Sharp says, yeah, you know, Harry and Terrell Buckley have more. They're tied for the lead in ground touchdowns on this team. You know, Harry got one last week, and Buckley's had him on punt returns. But Harry's been a guy that knows this offense, was with the 49ers, and has come in here and was sort of an instant big leader, instant team leader for the Packers. They didn't always appreciate it early. They said, well, who is this guy? But he's really been a great addition to this team.
Pepper Johnson was shaken off, and he goes out of the game for the Giants. We'll check on his replacement. Second down and 7 on the 19-yard line. Brett Favre. Pass is caught by Sterling Sharp. Well, at least in this first half, the Packers are finding a way to get the ball to Sterling Sharp, something they haven't been able to do. There's a penalty marker down after a 10-yard play with Jackson and Collins. And the flag will be apparently against the Packers.
Number 87 offense. 5 yards. Repeat second down.
That'll nullify a 10-yard gain.
And that's the kind of mistakes that Mike Holmgren and this offense have been making. Mike Holmgren's offense, I should say, have been making all year long. When things are going well and they're moving the ball between the 20s, they're great. When they get in that red zone scoring area, they just incessantly jump off sides or do something dumb and set themselves back.
Ninth play of the drive coming up. Second down and 12. Corey Miller is in now for Pepper Johnson. Giants are showing blitz. They pull back. Favre's pass, and it's caught by Sterling Sharp. Almost an identical pass pattern to the one that was called back because of the penalty. A gain of 9 yards with Jackson and then Collins making the play.
Well, in this offensive style, if you don't stop something, you're going to see it again and again and again. And as Sterling Sharp thought, he's seeing an awful lot of Collins covering him. But you got to give Sharp a little due and respect. And Collins, by laying off him, is leaving that underneath pattern wide open.
Ed Reynolds is in for Corey Miller for the Giant defense. It'll be 3rd and 3 at the 15. And Ed West has come in as the second tight end for the Packers. And Favre fires Packers, and the pass is caught by Jackie Harris. Looked like he was on his way down when he made the reception, and a tough throw for the Bulldog Brett Favre, and a 10-yard pickup and first down for the Pack.
Good improvisation because the Giants are doing a nice job of covering. Brett Favre tries to step up. He's about to go down. And to Jackie Harris's credit, what kind of concentration did that take? That was a great catch. But, you know, look at the Giants' defense. They've been a little less fired up. They don't look to have that spring. And that's one thing Pepper Johnson adds to this defensive team is the intensity and really the toughness.
First and goal on the 5. Packers trailing 6-0, and Workman in the game is stacked up at about the 3. And that's where the Packers will run their next play. Ed Reynolds and Eric Dorsey making the tackle. We have 9:35 remaining in the first half. Giants on 2 Matt Barr field goals in the first quarter, lead 6-0, and Green Bay trying to take the lead themselves.
In Green Bay, if you're going to put the ball in the end zone here, I got a funny feeling against this big physical defense. You best do it with a play action, or you best do it with a pass, because I don't like your chances of pounding the ball in the middle against this defense.
Few teams are able to do that. Second and goal, and here is Workman, and he'll score up the middle for the touchdown. And the Green Bay Packers have tied the score on Vince Workman's first touchdown rushing this year.
I stand corrected. Mike Holmgren, nice call. Little sprint draw, and it goes right up the middle. If you look at the linebackers, as many of them as you can see, watch how they react. They're hesitant, they're soft, they're thinking pass, and that opens up the inside of that defense for really an easy touchdown run by Workman. Remember, that's only the second rushing touchdown of 1992 for the Packers.
Chris Jackie was perfect, 12 for 12, and the extra point is good. It was not a good snap, but Workman gained 32 yards and 8 carries on that drive and capped it with a 3-yard score.